Hello there guys, today I want to share with you my total cost of ownership of my Mercedes E-Class W211 E220 CDI. Many of you know that I owned this car, made a couple of videos with it, and in general I really like the car, but I recently sold it, and so I of course made a spreadsheet with all this stuff, repairs, maintenance, and etc. for you here to see how much it really cost me. So I put some tea here into my G-Class mug. Now let's get started here. It'll be fun because everything that is red here is something that broke. Now before I start here with the costs, why I bought this car was because, well, I've always been a fan of the car, always liked how it looked. I think it still looks very good. Classic cool Mercedes look. I think decent build quality, especially like the interior. Mine had the black leather interior. It was only the classic trim, so it was like the lowest spec, but mine had leather and automatic, had the 5-speed automatic, and of course the OM646 diesel engine, which made around 170 horsepower. So I think a pretty good powertrain, relatively powerful, like it had good power, decent fuel economy, needed around 7.2 liters on 100 kilometers. I could get it lower than that, down to like 6.5 at some point if you really want to push it, but on average around like 7 to 7.5 maximum. And yeah, I mean, the car was powerful, it was comfortable. I put a lot of kilometers on it, so I bought it with a beginning mileage of 290,000 kilometers, which was already pretty high up there. And I sold it with 343,000, like just over 343,000 kilometers. So in total, I put around 53,000 kilometers on this car in the span of 2.5 years, a little over 2.5 years. So how much did I spend on this old aging Mercedes? Over 2.5 years and 53,000 kilometers. I'm sure you'll be surprised. Watch till the end to find out how much I sold it for. And also, it was a two-owner car only, so it had excellent service history, and it was a two-owner car. So even though it was old, had high miles, I decided to buy it anyway because of the good history. So yeah, I bought it, and now, a week ago, I sold it. Now, to get started here, I did round up the numbers, so we have a nice even number to work with. This video is just not exactly about the exact figure, but just to get an idea how much stuff costs. And also keep in mind, I live in Austria, which by international standards has very high labor costs. Going to the garage, the hours in the garage, they cost a lot of money. So that's why I think to some of you, especially the bills at the shops will seem high. So just keep that in mind. Oh, we got a lot to go through, so why don't we get started here? So I registered the car with 290,000 kilometers, and the registration cost 176 euros. Then I put some license plate holders on and security essentials. Those cost 43 euros. And I had my winter wheels put on, and I had to buy extra bolts because, well, it was unfortunate. The previous owner kind of handed me the wrong bolts. Must have been for another car, but they didn't fit. So I had to buy new bolts for wheels that I wasn't gonna use long anyway. Kind of sucked, but anyway, so the bolts, the installation, the balancing cost 124 euros. And then the first problem creeped up with the car. It threw me a check engine light and lost power. That was at 293,500 kilometers. I made a video, and it turned out to be the differential pressure sensor, a common sensor that fails on those old aging diesel Mercedes. Not expensive to buy, but I bought two because one got lost in shipping. It got sent to me way later, so I bought another one instead. I bought the original Bosch sensor, and also bought a interior filter, and that cost 85 euros for the two sensors. Now I tried changing out the sensor. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the lines off, which pissed me off because it wasn't hard to do really. You just at the back of the engine, you could easily reach it. I just couldn't get the damn lines off. So yeah, I held off replacing it because there was another thing wrong with the car. So the car also had troubles cold starting, meaning it would crank endlessly until it finally fired. That was very bad because it was winter, it was cold, and I had a lot of times trouble starting the car. And first I thought, shit, probably glow plugs. But no, no, no. It was actually a glow plug relay. So the problem with the relay is it's really hard to change if you don't have a lift. Like you have to get under the car. We could maybe do with a jack, but I had to get the differential pressure sensor installed anyway. So I told the shop, please fix that relay for me too. So they got the relay for me, which also wasn't cheap, and installed it and installed the differential pressure sensor. God, I hate that word. And then, yeah, it was fixed and the car had restored power, like totally fine again. And also, it never had a single problem cold starting. It didn't matter how cold it got, like minus 10, minus 15 degrees Celsius, it always started very fast. So that glow plug relay really did the trick. And that all cost, including the relay, 452 euros. Yeah, so then I bought 4 new wheels for it. 4 MAMB 2 18-inch wheels, which I think look really nice. In retrospect, I can't recommend you those wheels. Those seem to be lower quality wheels because only like 2 years later, stuff started flaking off. I saw some corrosion forming. They are supposed to be winter proof, so salt proof and all that, but they're apparently not. So if you come across these wheels, yes, they're on the cheaper side, probably because of that too, but don't use them in winter or buy other brand. But those cost 733 euros. But they looked pretty good. I mean, really, they really did lift the car's appearance, in my opinion. I think it looked pretty good. Then I bought a blinker light on the left side, turn signal in the mirror, and I fixed that because I feared it's gonna fail the inspection, road inspection because of that. And that turned out to be 40 euros. Bought that on eBay and sold it myself. And then I bought the all-season tires, Friedestein all-season tires for the new wheels. Had them installed, mounted, put on, and those cost 646 euros. So the tires, the all-season tires, those were my first experiences with all-season tires. Excellent. Never changed them until I sold the car. I ended up putting like over 50,000 kilometers on this one set of tires, and they still had this decent tread. Like really good tires. Also, no problem driving in winter. I mean, winter driving is in a Mercedes, rear-wheel drive kind of crap anyway, but never, like, I can totally recommend this pretty good wheels. Yeah, and then I had to go about the big problem with the car, where I took a bit of a gamble, because ever since I bought the car, when it was cold, it would do this. Meaning it would chirp back and forth. Not violently, just a little bit until it warmed up and it was okay, and it was gone. So it came from the transmission. So I read online that it can be the Wandlerüberbrückungsmagnetskupplungsventil, really complicated German word. It's like a solenoid that engages gears and stuff. And it's known to go bad on those 5-speed automatic transmissions on Mercedes. Those are like old 5 speeds. So I always had that in mind, but when I told this problem to 2 different shops, both of them told me it was the torque converter, that it has to be the torque converter. And I thought, ooh, that's not good. So anyway, I ordered this solenoid anyway. It wasn't expensive. Next time I'm gonna visit the workshop with the car, I plan to have that swapped out and prayed that the choking was gone. And yeah, let's see if that worked out. Also at the same time, I bought new mirror glass on the left side because that got cracked by a dude with a shopping cart. So I swapped out that as well. That both of this, the solenoid and the glass, cost 103 euros. And by the way, I found out about this solenoid on the Mercedes forums. Pretty good place if you have like issues with old Mercedes. It's just go on the internet. Like, don't ask around the shops so much. If they're not a specialist for Mercedes, go on their websites, on the forums. So then I had the wheels legally registered, because you have to do that in Austria. That cost 36 euros. Not expensive, but a horrible procedure. Don't want to do that ever again. And then at 297,500 kilometers, there was the first service about to happen on the car under my ownership, and I planned to do a big one. Um, I I bought the solenoid for the transmission and also bought a new transmission oil and filters, or like a transmission service set, new differential oil, because I thought, car done over almost 300,000 kilometers, I had never had that oil changed, so better safe than sorry. Then also bought a new belt and some new pulleys, because those did squeak and were just old. And also I told the shop that the car needed the road inspection done, because that was also due. So yeah, I bought all of this stuff, and that cost 306 euros in the parts that I brought to the shop. Oh yeah, I also just realized, I forgot about that. The car also had a pretty bad oil leak in the top left, and I also wanted the shop to fix that because it was really annoying. It was like oil dripping down on the belt, and the belt was literally splashing it around in the engine bay. Man, it wasn't good. So yeah, then the car went to the shop, and the single most expensive bill happened. Let's just do a rundown of what they all did. I mean, they did the road inspection. For the road inspection, only the exhaust mounting needed to be welded. Like it was loose or something, and they fixed that. That was it. That was it to get it through the inspection. So good, right? Then they changed the differential oil and the belt and pulleys, and they fixed the oil leak, which was some pump, like vacuum pump, also expensive little piece that they had to order. And yeah, then they changed out the transmission solenoid, which I was telling them, please try it. They weren't sure themselves if it's really gonna work, so they made sure that I know that I told them, guys, please try it. And so they did that. And then alongside with that, they serviced the transmissions, a new filter, and put the new oil in. And guys, it fixed it. The transmission shifted beautifully again from like super cold to operating temperature, no jerking around anymore. And I was so relieved. And so yes, it was this solenoid. If there's one thing you can learn from this video, if you have an old aging 5-speed transmission from that era, from Mercedes, doesn't always have to be the torque converter that's bad or something critically, catastrophically. It can be just this stupid valve, this stupid solenoid. So before you go about and change out the whole transmission or rebuild the transmission or whatever, just try this at first. Now, you need to be skilled to do that. Like, you have to go disassemble a little bit the transmission, all that. I don't know if I probably couldn't do it, no. But yeah, if it's something which every half decent shop is probably able to do. So yeah, try that, guys. Try it. In my case, it worked. The car was shifting perfectly fine again, and also probably better than before because it had new transmission fluid. So new service was done, and so yeah, I was really happy. But the bills, they don't stop. So later I had the AC checked and disinfected. That cost $108. Bloody expensive, man, just for a check. But I was glad it was okay. So better safe than sorry, I suppose. Then I bought some oil. So you have to remember that the car didn't have the service for the engine yet. Like it was all done, like everything else but the engine. So at 302,000 kilometers, the first engine service needed to be done. So I bought 7 liters of Castrol Edge 5W30 long life oil. Say what you want about the long life intervals. I did it. The previous owners did it. They did it in the correct intervals. They always use good quality oil. That thing was running like clockwork. So I know it's a controversial opinion, but I think those long life intervals are actually fine. So I bought the oil and the filters, and that cost 107 euros. And then another check engine light popped up. It turned out to be the fuel temperature sensor. Now this thing was going on and off a couple of times, so that sensor was dodgy. I deleted the code a couple of times, but it kept coming back more often. So I finally bit the bullet and bought that. And that cost 36 euros. I changed that sensor out myself and the problem was gone. Now, the problems were gone until it got colder. So at 303,000 kilometers, the car wouldn't heat, meaning doesn't matter if you turn up the heat all the way, there would not be any heat coming out of the vents. And so the Mercedes forums pushed me in the right direction again. There is a problem on the 211 Mercedes cars that the valve, which directs the air flow, like from cold to warm or something, and it gets stuck or it fails, and that's why mine didn't work. So mine got stuck on the cold side. So in the summer, who knows how long it's been broken, but in the summer when I needed AC, it was okay, but the moment I needed heat, it wouldn't work. So I bought that original Mercedes valve for 66 euros, and the shop had it later installed when they did the oil and filter change. Now, that cost 373 euros. It's a bit of labor intensive job to get to this area where this valve is located, and I just couldn't be bothered. I had no time. The car needed a service anyway, and yeah, I just had the shop do it. Then I put new wiper blades on. Those cost 23 euros. And then, yeah, the next problem that haunted me till almost the end was there was water in the trunk of the car. Really bad at first. I bought it this way. I never figured out first like that it really was this bad, but it was really bad. So it turned out that on the Mercedes 211s, that now that they're getting older and aging, the seal behind the thing where the license plate is on and the actual tailgate gets dry, leaks, and lets water in the trunk, which is very bad. I mean, it literally filled up the compartment where the spare wheel is, and yeah, it was really bad. I tried it out a couple of times. So my first try to solve this issue was to buy new drainage rails, which cost 62 euros from a Mercedes original, and I swapped them out, did nothing. Although one on the right side was cracked a little bit, so at least it got replaced, but really didn't do anything. And then some friends and me tried to glue together, we tried to first seal it with some rubber seal. We took apart the tailgate, sealed it, put it back together. So that cost 40 bucks. Also did nothing. Yeah, this tailgate, man. Then I bought a backup camera because that car at this time, I was still driving around without a backup camera. It had no parking sensors in the front or in the rear, so parking it in tight spots was a bit challenging without the camera. So that camera only cost 20 euros from eBay, some cheap Chinese camera. However, installing that darn thing took forever, a lot of time. I made a video where I installed it. I was proud of myself that I did it, but man, oh man, that was a process. Yeah, then I got into my obsession with the lights. So I tried swapping out the lights for some more bright Bosch xenon blue lights, which are anything but blue, really. So yeah, I bought also new LEDs for the running lights. That all cost 22 euros. Then another pulley started to squeak around, meaning the one that was at the alternator. And yeah, that happened at, where was that? 313,500 kilometers, and that noise got really bad. And yeah, so that the bearing was just worn out from all the years and the miles. So I bought a new one, and that cost 28 euros. Not much. No, actually cost 40 euros. Sorry. And then I bought some new lights for it. Those cost 28 euros just as a backup. And then, yeah, I went to combat the issue that the car also had for now a long time, meaning it had noisy power steering, especially on full lock. It would make a noise. It wasn't good. And I drove around like this for a long time. So I should have taken care of this earlier. Also, the steering was starting to get notchy. And I figured before I'm gonna kill the power steering completely, I'll have the system drained, cleaned, and the fluid changed. And I did that. The shop did it, not me. And I also installed that noisy pulley, like removed it, put the new one in. And that cost 158 euros. And the power steering was back to perfect. Smooth again, no noise. So I'm glad I did that. That was very useful. So then at 315,000 kilometers, a very cold February morning, it wouldn't start anymore. So the battery died. Bought a new battery, 415 euros, and installed it myself. Yeah, car started again. Thankfully, this is still a car where you can just put a battery in and you can go. Unlike some other newer cars, we have to program all some sorts of shit. Don't have to do that on those old cars, thankfully. Oh man, that maintenance sheet here is really, it's a never-ending story, is it? So yeah, then I bought some filters for the car. So a new oil filter, interior filter, and fuel filter that had never been changed under my ownership. So I figured that's a good thing to do that. And those cost 46 euros, all from MAN. Pretty good brand. Then the car went through inspection again, where it failed the inspection. Needed a new rear shock, and so they changed out the shock, and the testing fee, the shock, and the labor for that cost 262 euros, and the car was road legal again. And quickly after that, the brake pads got worn down so much that it threw me the message, a warning, like you need new brake pads. So I had the brake pads changed out as well. So those brake pads were at 322,000 kilometers. So they changed that out for 209 euros. If you're wondering why did they change out the whole like brake system, like the whole brake disc and pads, I just couldn't be bothered. Like the discs, they were not great, but they were fine. So only the pads. Then I bought some oil, 7 liters of good Castrol Edge oil again for 78 euros. So then one day a friend of mine and me were riding along, minding our business, and we heard a loud scraping noise. So the car suddenly decided to drop down the plastic protection underneath. It was, dragging it on the street. So I had to buy a new one, and that cost me 44 euros. Just a piece of plastic that covers it, not a big deal. And then, yeah, there was another service done. So new oil filter, also had the brake fluid changed and the diesel fuel filter as well. Just a regular service. That all cost 334 euros, sorry. I don't really spend a lot of money on this car, right? But it is what it is, guys. We're almost done with the maintenance category, thankfully, Jesus. And so, yeah, I had to buy new wiper blades again. The old ones were worn. Those cost 28 euros. And then the Mercedes emblem cracked. That was very unfortunate. Yeah, but it was probably hanging on for dear life for a long time until I finally, I killed it off with the brush while washing the car. And I didn't really, I always took care of it. I just hit it a little bit and it was like, boop. So I had to buy a brand new Mercedes emblem. Of course, there are plenty of knockoff variants, but I just couldn't. I had to get the real Mercedes emblem for 57 euros, install it. So I had the shiny new Mercedes emblem again. Good. Very important. And then unfortunately my Android radio died, so I'll tell you more about it in the next category. But the Android radio that I put in developed a humming noise and it started to crash, so I bought a new one, which, well, it only cost 180 euros. And that was a better one, bigger screen, faster, and yeah, it was better in every way, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But I was like, I didn't have that for long. That happened, yeah, in April. So I only had it a couple of months with this new radio, but that new radio worked really well. Couldn't tell you the brand though. It's just some Chinese. I know it's gonna come up, but I'm sorry, I don't know the brand. Some Chinese unit. And so yeah, the last maintenance item on the Mercedes was the road inspection, where it failed because of two things. The first one was again the exhaust mounting cracked. They welded that again, so that was good. But also it developed a leak apparently, which I didn't notice before. But yes, there was a massive leak. They couldn't find the leak, or they were not motivated enough. So what they did instead is they said, Manfred, we're gonna clean it up. We're gonna see how severe it is. They decided it's not severe enough, so pass. Good. So I never cared about this leak again because I sold the car quickly after that. So yeah, that was the last maintenance item. So in total, guys, I spent 6,461 euros in maintenance and repairs on this car. I know some didn't have to happen necessarily, like the new wheels and tires, like some of the more like cautionary measures, like changing out the diff oil and all that. But in general, I mean, I took good care of the car, I maintained it properly. This is what it cost me. But I still have a second category, meaning the upgrades, because that car again was a 2008 car, didn't have any features. I had no backup camera, I had no Bluetooth, nothing. It had like some old stereo in it. The factory stereo could do CD. Yeah, outdated as hell. So my first upgrade was an Android radio, which could do Apple CarPlay. That cost 171 euros. That video got a lot of views, so a lot of people are interested in doing that, and I can only recommend it. It was the best upgrade for the car because not only did you now have a screen, which you could fit the backup camera to easily, but also you could do Apple CarPlay, all the, it worked good with the controls, and the steering wheel was good integrated in the car. Best upgrade. Just a shame that it died only quickly later. Like, it didn't even last 2 years, but yeah, I mean, those 2 years were good. So yeah, then the backup camera, I did buy two. So I have here another backup camera for 20 euros. Yes, I ordered two. Gave the spare one to the new owner. He was happy about that. Then I bought a cup holder because the Mercedes 211s don't have any cup holders. This is one point of criticism about the car that I have. It's just there's nowhere for you to put a drink anywhere in this car. So except if you buy like this janky thing which lifts up, it's like, yeah, it just does a cool dance when opening up, but I never really liked it all that much. But that cost me 38 euros and I had a cup holder, at least one. Then I bought LED lights for 17 euros, LED interior lights for 47 euros, and some more LED lights for the license plates and plus the some mounting for it for 41 euros. And also those videos got a lot of views because apparently people want to upgrade their old Mercedes to LED, just like me. When I sold it though, I returned it all to stock. So then I also tried some halogen bulbs, which are supposed to be more bright and blue, or like white, which they were neither. All of them looked kind of the same, so just don't bother. But in total, I paid 86 euros for 6 H7 bulbs and 2 H11 bulbs. Yeah, plenty of spares. I had to change them out I think once, maybe even twice, can't remember. Pain to get to as well because reaching into the light is not easy. There's like a bunch of stuff in the way. Jesus. Yeah, then I bought a USB socket plus some cables. That cost 50 euros. It was like at the time where I did all the upgrades. Then I tried out some more lights, like some Maruda super white lights, which cost me 22 euros. They were, if anything, they were worse than the Osram bulbs. So just don't bother. Just buy some night breakers and call it a day. Then I bought trunk liner just to keep stuff tidy, 34 euros. And Mercedes hubcaps, like, not hubcaps, the little things which cover the center of the wheel. I can't remember the English name. That, well, those were not original Mercedes. Those cost me only 24 euros for 4 pieces. I can only imagine the original ones probably cost like 24 euros per piece, maybe even more than that. And then I bought some LED foot lighting for 17 euros and LED ambient light, which I never installed, for 19 euros. And at 309,000 kilometers, I had the car professionally detailed on the interior, not exterior, only interior. That cost me 100 euros, and it made it look really good. In general, this car looked pretty good for the miles, for the age. Good quality materials on interior, I think. But also the previous owners have taken care of it, so have I. So that car still looked pretty good. So the last 2 things that I bought for it were 2 H11 LED fog lights for 35 euros, which again, I reverted back to stock when I sold it, but I gave those to the new owner because I thought, hey, why not? What am I gonna do with those? And the last thing I bought for it was an epic fail. The first Android replacement radio didn't work. So I bought for 84 euros from AliExpress another radio, and it didn't work. I didn't bother to send it back because of reasons. Yeah, so that was an epic fail. So in total, upgrades on this car, 805 euros. But I think all very sensible upgrades, except maybe the LED stuff. Yeah. So now that we have totaled up all the maintenance and repair costs and upgrade costs, let's actually calculate how much the 211 cost me in total. So total cost of ownership comes up right now. So I bought the car for 5,000 euros, which back then I thought, and I still think, was a pretty good deal. So then the maintenance and repairs, 6,461 euros. Then the upgrades, 805 euros. Insurance and tax for the entirety totaled up to 3,119 euros. If you want to know the total amount of taxes and insurance that I paid for both of my cars, because yeah, there was only one of them, double it. That's how much a car costs in Austria. And then the diesel, of course, the fuel, that all cost me 5,710 euros to keep it running, keep it fueled up. So before we actually gonna calculate that in total, I have to subtract something. I sold the winter wheels and summer wheels, the old ones, for 480 euros. And then I sold the original radio for 38 euros, and the broken Android radio, I sold it also for 40 euros. So those were all things which I sold. And finally, in September, I sold the car. And I did sell it for 5,500 euros. Yes, guys, I sold it for more than I bought it for. That makes total sense, right? You buy a car, you put 50,000 kilometers, over 50,000 kilometers on it, and then you sell it for more than you bought it for. Yeah, I got lucky there, I think. So subtracting that as well, the total cost of ownership of owning this beautiful E-Class was 15,037 euros for 2.5 years and 53,000 kilometers. This is what it cost me. So that equals to 29 cents per kilometer and around 14 let's just make it 15, like $14.98 per day. That's what it cost me, guys. And you can say what you want. I know it's gonna come up, this is so expensive. Sure, it's not cheap, but owning no car in Austria is cheap. Car taxes and fuel and repair and maintenance costs are expensive here. I mean, you can have the most reliable car in the world. If it's powerful, you're gonna pay very much to keep it on the road here legally and register it and insure it. So I think it's actually okay. I mean, I think I did pretty well. When I bought the car, knew that this was an old, aging luxury car, an old, aging Mercedes with high miles. I knew that it's not going to be perfect. I knew that I'd have to spend here and there some money on repairs. But in a grand scheme of things, it was a very positive experience. The car never left me stranded anywhere, except the one time where it wouldn't start, but it was because of the battery, which I can forgive it that. I mean, it's a, battery, it dies, but it never actually had some serious problems. And I think it was mainly because it's been maintained well. The previous owners always maintained it well. I always maintained it well, and therefore it drove fine. It was, again, as I said, powerful, comfortable. I enjoyed driving it very, very much. And the diesel engine, this old 646 diesel, is a very reliable unit. Also the transmission, it always kept going fine until I sold it. That thing was very smooth, never did some weird janky stuff. So why did I sell it then? If it's so good, why did I sell it? I know it's gonna come up. Well, I made an entire video why. It was, just to put it short, upcoming maintenance costs. New brakes, new tires, some other stuff that might go wrong, injectors, turbo, who knows. I was not ready for that. That car was I think I got peak top dollar for it, honestly. It's not gonna be worth any more than that. Not at all, I think. And so it's not worth it for me to put a lot of money, which must have been potentially thousands, into a car, which is never going to be worth more than $5,000. Probably less than that, actually, in the next coming years. So, yeah, it is what it is, guys. We have a saying in German, man soll aufhören, wenn es am schönsten ist, meaning you should stop when it's the best. I can't translate that really well into English, but I think I did it, and yeah, I can say I had a positive ownership with this car. So I know the 211 has a nice following on the internet. It's a beloved car, and I can attest to it. It has something about it. I really liked it. As I said, to me, it was like a bucket list car. Always wanted one. Finally found one for decent money, and it was good. It was good. So yeah, that pretty much ends the video. This was my total cost of ownership of a Mercedes E220 CDI. If you have a similar car, just let me know. How was your experience? But mine, generally okay. Generally pretty good. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.